So today I'm going to show you guys how I color grade my iPhone footage to make it look more filmic, more cinematic. And I know this sounds a little bit cliche, but as they say, the best camera is the one that you have with you. And the iPhone is the camera that I carry with me everywhere I go. So I want to make sure that it looks the best as possible. So it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or if you're an advanced filmmaker, this tutorial is super easy to follow. And the best part about it too is that this will work with Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, and also DaVinci Resolve. Now I'm using Premiere Pro, but it's going to be a very similar workflow, so you can follow along very easily. Now, before we begin, I do want to tell you guys about the holiday sale that Artlist is having right now. As you guys know, I use Artlist for all of my assets, my LUTs. They have a lot of great LUTs that you can experiment, but more importantly, right now, they are on top of the AI game because they're constantly updating all of the AI models. So like, for example, Nana Banana Pro just dropped, and literally on day one, Artlist is now supporting it. Now check this out. This is mental. So I tried it out. So one of the cool things that you can do now with Nana Banana Pro is you can change the camera perspective. So this is going to be incredible for thumbnails. For example, I have this, like if you want to call it this thumbnail that I had for a video, but I wish it was more of a lower angle and a little bit wider. So all I did was uploaded this to Artlist. I prompted it to give me a wider but lower angle perspective, and I use Nana Banana Pro, and look at the shot that it generated. Like, that is insane. Like, it even, look at Adam, he's wearing these boots that, I'm not joking you, like they were pretty much almost identical to the boots that he was wearing on that day, and it didn't have that information, which is crazy. Something else that you can do with Nano Banana Pro is you can create infographics. So for example, I uploaded this photo of my Cybertruck, and I just said, make an infographic. And look at this. The Cybertruck does not come pre-installed with this tire rack on the back. I actually put that myself, but it's so smart that it knew that, and it actually created this little bullet point that it has an off-road spare tire rack system, which is, again, pretty insane. So there's other things that Nano Banana Pro can do. I highly recommend you guys give it a try, especially right now, they're having a holiday sale. So if you want to take advantage of these sales, make sure to use my link down below in the description. Now let's go ahead and jump back into this timeline because I have a couple of scenes here that I shot with my iPhone. Like I said, I take this everywhere. This is some stuff that I shot at Universal Studios when I was with my family. Some behind the scenes stuff with the boys. This is just, I was on set behind the scenes and we're filming some stuff. And then over here, I was on a cruise ship. So we've got a lot of variety here. And I wanna show you how this grade will work in virtually any type of scenario. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this one here. I was at Cascade Trails, shout out to my boy Chris, and we were just filming. This is when I first got the iPhone. If you guys have not seen that video, highly recommend you watch it. But here's Chris doing his thing, and I was just recording this with my iPhone. So the very first thing that is going to make a big difference is using Film Convert. Now, I've been using Film Convert for such a long time. In fact, I actually went into my inbox in my email just to see when I bought Film Convert. And I bought this back in October of 2013. So I've been using Film Convert for over 12 years, and it's a testament to how great this software is. I paid $180, which is crazy, but I mean, anyway, so first thing I'm gonna do is go to my effects panel and search for Film Convert Nitrate. So we're gonna drag that onto our footage, and you're gonna see that it looks a little bit weird. And the reason it does that is because we need to select our camera profile. Now this software works not only with iPhone, but it works with other camera systems too. So when I go here to choose camera, you can see that there's a bunch of other cameras that I can select from Apple, Arri, Blackmagic, Sony, Panasonic. I mean, there's just a plethora of other cameras. In this case, we're selecting Apple because we're working with iPhone footage. So even on iPhone, you don't have to be using the 17 Pro. You could be using an older generation. It goes back even to the original or older iPhones, and it picks up to the iPhone 12, 13, 14. In my case, I'm gonna be using iPhone 17 Pro, so I'm going to select iPhone 17 Pro. And as I mentioned, make sure you record in log. On the newer iPhones, you're able to record in Apple Log too, which is gonna give you a little bit more dynamic range, better color fidelity. So again, definitely record in Apple Log 2. Now you'll notice as soon as I select Apple Log 2, and if you haven't downloaded this program or if you're using it for the first time, it will ask you to download this profile. Once you do that, it's free by the way. Once you buy the software, downloading the profiles are free. And then you hit apply, and then you can see it brings up a lot of color. Look at my skies. It brings up all the detail. Now, you look at the image and it does look slightly underexposed, and I purposely do that. I like to underexpose my iPhone footage. I really love to protect the highlights, mainly because iPhone, for whatever reason, and this is just my findings, is that the shadow detail, it's easy to recover. Like, there's no problem, as opposed to if you blow out your highlights, they're gone. Look at the sky. There's so much information. So in Film Convert, I can just move my exposure slider all the way up until I find that little happy medium, which I think this looks great. You can see, look at all that shadow detail. It looks beautiful. Now, what's great about Film Convert, and this is what's really giving you that filmic look, is that it's using film stock emulation. So it's emulating actual film stock. And you can have, or you can select all these different film stocks that they've actually worked with. And you're gonna find that the top like 4 or 5 are the ones, or actually 3 or 4 of them, the top ones on the list are actually motion film stock. So it's what they use in films, versus the ones below are actually photography film stock, but you can emulate whatever you want. So my favorite one is the top one, which is KD5207. That's Kodak Vision 3. I really, really like that. I kind of just leave it out on that one. The other one that I like also is FJ8553EET. That's Fujifilm Eterna. I actually like that. Now, Fujifilm Eterna, it's gonna give you a lot more shadow detail. So right now that I brought up the exposure, I'm just gonna go ahead and just zero this out to how it was. You'll notice when I change this over to Eterna, it's gonna bring up that shadow detail. It's still a little slightly under, but I can bring it up. But look at the skin tones. It just looks really, really great. Also, you'll notice there's a lot of film grain happening right now. And this is something that you can also control. We'll get to that in just a second. So I'm gonna go back to Kodak Vision 3 just because that's my personal favorite. And I'm just gonna bump this up. And you don't see the film grain as prominent, just the Eterna one's a little bit more prominent than Kodak Vision 3. So that's another reason. I do like filmic look, but I don't like it to look exaggerated. I mean, unless that's the look I'm going for. Now, below here, you can change the vibrance, saturation. I'm not gonna go through every single step because these are just things that I don't really touch. I'm only telling you how I color grade my iPhone footage. The film color, so that's one I do touch, and film color basically means is how much film stock do you want? So in other words, if it's at 100%, you're using 100% of that film stock. If we drop it down to, which I like, 80%, it kind of blends the log with the film stock. So I'm only using 80% of the film stock and 20% is going back to that iPhone log footage. So it kind of blends the two, and I really like this look. It kind of desaturates it a little bit, and I do that on purpose because at the very end, I add what I call a finalized or a final LUT to kind of put that cherry on top. So from here, I don't touch Cineon print film. I don't touch any of the film grain size, but you can. That's just the size of the grain, how thick and big you want the little grain to be. I leave that alone. What I do change is the strength. Unless I'm going for a super uber film look where I want that like little grain to show up a lot, I leave it at 100%, or you can even go slide it over even more. So I keep the strength usually between 50%, depends on the video, or I'll, in this case, I'll just leave it at 80% just because I do want a little bit of that grit from the film. And that's kind of basically it. I don't touch all these other settings, but as you can see, that looks really good as a starting point. I'm gonna go ahead and play this because there's still more. So, but you can see here, oh my gosh, look at the detail in the skin. It just looks really, really good. Now, what I like to do here is add, it's like a finishing LUT or a creative LUT. Now, I have my own personal LUTs that I use. I also download a bunch from Artlist. I've talked about Artlist in the past, but Artlist has a lot of great LUTs that you can download. And one of my favorite ones is this one called Bleach, or Beach, not Bleach, Beach. I really, really like this look, but it's even a little too strong for my liking. So in the creative tab in Premiere Pro, I'm going to lower that intensity. So you can do this on any NLE, you can lower the intensity. So right now it's at 100%. I'm gonna dial that back to 80%. And I just think, I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. That looks so freaking good. Look at that. Now this is just an outside shot that I did. Look at all the details in the sky, and that's really why I like Film Convert, because the way it processes the image you get all that information all the way from the low end to the high end. Now, I'm gonna show you one last thing, but before I do that, I'm going to add like the final, like this is it. This is the chef's kiss, and that's going to be hazy. Now, I made a whole video on hazy, so I'm not gonna go too much into it, but basically what this does is it emulates different types of filtration like black pro mist. Oh man, just by adding that, it looks so good. Black pro mist, pearlescent, smoke. It gives you a bunch of different emulations that you can generate. Again, I've done a video, I'll leave a link down below if you guys wanna watch it, but I like black pro mist. I also like pearlescent, but in this case, I'll just leave it at black pro mist. And I always like to keep it very low. So at 1/8 strength is what I leave it. And I'll show you, I'm gonna go ahead and toggle this on and off just so that you can see. Pay attention here to the background and even just like where his hat is right here. Watch, check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and toggle this off and then on, off, on. What a difference. It just, again, it gives it that filmic touch. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit play so you guys can see this. Oh man, that just looks so good. Now, as I mentioned, now I'm gonna show you how this setup, this grade, will literally work with just about any other scenario. So I'm gonna go ahead and just collapse these. I'll bring my film convert up. I'm gonna go ahead and just copy these three things: film convert, my finishing LUT, and hazy. And I'm just gonna hit copy. Now I have another footage here of some horses running, as you can see here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and hit paste. Wow. In fact, it's a little too overexposed. I'm just gonna drop the exposure down a little bit, but look at this. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. This, to me, looks incredible. Look at all the detail. Look at the dirt being kicked up by the horse. You can see all that information, the shadow, just the grit, it's just so beautiful. Like, it's incredible how much information and just color fidelity we're getting with these iPhones. Here's another shot of a turkey. I'm gonna go ahead and just hit or copy and paste that, and just right off the bat, I don't even have to make any changes. Look at the detail. Like, if you told me this was shot with an iPhone, like, I wouldn't believe you because it looks so freaking good. Let's go ahead and go to this shot here. I was on a cruise and I saw a beautiful sunset. I'm gonna go ahead and just hit paste. It looks great, slightly over, but I can just adjust my exposure slider, no problem there. Another situation here where I was looking at the captain. In fact, you can see the captain right here, just looking off at the horizon. Beautiful shot. I was in my room, and I'm just gonna go ahead and hit play, and look at that. The gradient is just really solid. Now, here's a shot where I was doing some BTS, or I was actually shooting a masterclass, but we had a little break here, and I just grabbed my iPhone to shoot some BTS. Really warm lighting. I'm gonna go ahead and just hit play, and look at this. Look at the colors. Look how beautiful this looks. Now, this was actually, they were still lighting it, so it was kind of underexposed, but again, I tell you guys how much shadow information you get with the iPhone, and if I want, I could even go to Eterna, and it'll bring up more of that shadow information. I can even turn the exposure down just a hair, and it just looks so good. Look at that. Here's one. I really want to showcase this one because this had the worst terrible lighting. We're at a pizza shop with my friends, and look at this. Worst, it's like the worst lights. Like, you can even see the light bulb up here. I mean, this has had the worst lighting, but look at this. It looks solid. Like, I love the look. It has that grittiness. It looks filmic. I like it a lot. Anyway, I'll show you some examples here. You can see I've got more iPhone stuff behind the scenes, kind of with the boys hanging out. I also have some Universal Studio stuff. So if you look here, we've got the shark. The shot a little bit slow motion, but it just looks so good. All I'm doing is copying and pasting this profile, and you can see I don't have to make literally any changes, and this works in virtually any type of environment. Here's a set of Nope, which I think looks pretty cool. So this was all done at Universal Studios. But yeah, this is pretty much the workflow that I use on pretty much all of my iPhone footage. So if you guys are interested, Film Convert is also having a Black Friday sale. So check them out. If you use my link on top of the Black Friday sale, you will get an additional 10% off. So again, if you want to save the most money right now, use my link down below. Again, I want to thank you guys for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. My name is Armando. Thanks again for watching, and you will catch me in the next one. Adios.